Hello everybody, how you all doing out there? Welcome to In Too Deep. I'm your host, Jack Rowland. Today's episode is with the infamous John McAfee. It was pretty weird talking to this guy. If you don't know who John McAfee is, he is basically the godfather of antivirus software. McAfee Antivirus would show up at the beginning of every computer startup when I was a kid, and is how he made his millions. I've been pretty fascinated with him for a number of years now, as there's a lot of pretty bizarre information out there about him. Whether it's the many articles written about his outrageous lifestyle, rumours of manufacturing drugs, or being on the run from the law from quite a few different countries for years now, most notably being wanted for questioning by the authorities in Belize for the murder of his neighbour, Gregory Fall, in 2012. There's a film out there about him called Gringo, The Dangerous Life of John McAfee, and it has some pretty serious and frightening accusations thrown his way. I have no idea how much of it's true, but it doesn't look good. I was hoping to get his take on some of these, as he's not actually interviewed in that film, but this chat was cut quite short by Mr. McAfee. There's quite a lot more I wanted to ask him, but fair enough, I guess. What else? He ran for President of the United States in 2016 and 2020, which he just wrapped up, and he's just launched his own cryptocurrency called Ghost. Ladies and gentlemen, John McAfee.
Is there a point to all this?
I think we're getting in too deep.
You don't apply.
Bad luck.
I have one speed, I have one gear. Go, 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 go.
I'll tell you when we're getting in too deep, too deep, too deep.
I can't hear you.
I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're good at that. Hi, John. I'm Jack. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Jack. How are you?
Yeah, great. Sorry, I'm just getting the levels right. Cheers, John.
Cheers to you.
Welcome to the show. I really appreciate you coming on.
Well, thanks for inviting me, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. So how are you? And where are you? Where are you living now? I don't know much about your story in the last few years.
That's a secret. That's been a secret for a year. Everybody's been trying to find that out.
Mm-hmm. So you are still evading, is this the US authorities, or is this more to do with the police?
U.S. authorities.
Yep.
Well, now the police, the police isn't after me, but the U.S. is, and Cuba is, and Dominican Republic and Bahamas.
Right. Why Dominican Republic and Bahamas?
Well, that's a long story, but if you want to know it. So So I haven't paid taxes in 11 years. I refused. I keep every year. I say I'm not filing a return. The government, the U.S. never bothered me for 8 of those years. And then I started talking about on international stages how cryptocurrency, Privacycoins, and distributed decentralized exchanges could allow anybody not to pay taxes. At that point, they got a little upset. So they charged myself and Janice with tax fraud, which is not true. I just haven't paid. I mean, you can't commit fraud if you haven't filed a return. That doesn't matter. We chose to leave the country. We hopped on our yacht with our 4 dogs and our entire staff and went to the Bahamas, where the Bahamas has no taxes. Therefore, I can't be extradited for a crime that's not a crime in the country that I'm in. But the U.S. came after us illegally. They were trying to kidnap us. We left, went to Cuba. We were there for 2 months. The Cuban government came and grabbed Janice and I and said the U.S. is unofficially, because there's no official channel, demanded that Cuba return us to America. We were on an army base, and an army general was talking to us, and he said, however, we're disinclined to do that. But you're now a serious problem for us. So you have 72 hours to get out of the country and never come back, which we did. We were 4.5 days at sea, went to the Dominican Republic. We were arrested before we could get off our boat, and they said, you've got to go back to America. But I managed to get some lawyers that prevented that. We went to England. They deported us to England. We flew there. They kept the boat. And we've been underground ever since. So I'm getting tired of the U.S. Chasing me.
Yeah, I could imagine. You've been an outlaw for how many years now?
1.5.
Right. So I saw your Twitter post, and you are no longer talking to the mainstream media. Why have you decided to give the flick to them?
Because I've done it 1,000 times. I've been on CNN and Fox and CNBC more times than I can count. It doesn't do any good. You get, 3 to 5 minutes of airtime during which you are interrupted if you talk for more than 30 seconds straight. It's all about personalities. I mean, the personalities of the media host, the media anchors. And I'm just not going to play that game anymore.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, the podcast form is it's good to get the long form happening. You were saying, so you've just released a cryptocurrency, right? Ghost?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, it's a privacy coin, equivalent to Monero in privacy, but with a bunch of added enhancements and advances. Monero is 5 or 6 years old now. And the technology that we had back then has advanced tremendously. We now have the decentralized and distributed exchanges, which Monero cannot work on. It's not a possibility. We have a bunch of features that Monero is a mined coin. We are a proof of stake blockchain. There's a big difference. Mining is chewing up more electricity than half of Eastern Europe. It's susceptible to a 51% attack, and it's got a bunch of problems. So ours is proof of stake, and it runs on the Ghost distributed and decentralized exchange. The problem with Monero and other privacy coins is that they're great as long as you stay within that currency. If you want to swap for a different currency or get out into fiat like dollars, euros, yens, well, then you're screwed because you have to do it on a centralized exchange. And on a centralized exchange, you've got to give your name, documentation, proof of who or your bank account. On a decentralized exchange, you don't have to give anything. Not even an IP address is kept. No email, no name, nothing, no documentation. So you can get out of privacy coins on decentralized exchanges without losing your anonymity.
Is that the big difference between a privacy coin and another cryptocurrency?
No, absolutely not. The privacy coins, no. The difference is simply decentralized versus centralized exchanges. Privacy coins are coins that you can, for example, if you use Bitcoin, well, if you send me a tenth of a Bitcoin or a millionth of a Bitcoin or whatever, or I send you, forever after, I can look in your wallet and see how much money you have, where it comes from, where it went to, and I can go back throughout history and find everybody who sent you Bitcoins and everybody that you sent Bitcoins to. I'm not happy with that, right? And most people are not happy with that, okay? Which is why Bitcoin is no longer used by anybody. Although it's still traded on exchanges, there are still idiots that don't understand the technology. But no, things have changed. With privacy coins, if you send me something, I send you something, all we know is our specific transaction. I can't go and look in your wallet after that to see how much you have or what you do. Neither can you do with mine.
Right. So you've, I just saw that Ghost is starting to be accepted in vending machines in China. Is that correct?
In Hong Kong? Yeah, it's not a big deal. Frankly, it's not a big deal. It's a small thing. But they ask us to go ahead and tweet about it. But yeah, it's being accepted by more and more people. I mean, people understand that the problem with privacy coins is the centralized exchanges. So they're only private as long as you never exchange them for anything. Right. As soon as you've exchanged them, you're screwed.
Right.
So with ours, you can exchange on a distributed exchange, which is completely anonymous, completely private, and no one can ever see it.
Right. Okay. Well, I thought that the vending machine thing would have been a big deal, because isn't that one of the main problems is that cryptocurrencies aren't really being kind of replacing regular.
Yeah, but it's a tiny. They've only got about 100 machines most. I mean, that's a tiny. It's not helping a lot of people, to be frank with you.
But that's
the
not
people in
paving the way.
Hong Kong. Well, of course, yeah. But the people in Hong Kong, of course. But our big deals, way bigger than that. We're coming out with, in fact, this Friday we are going to be releasing our privacy telephone. Well, it's not the phone itself; it's the eSIMs for those phones that will accept eSIMs. That'll turn your phone into completely anonymous telephone, and cannot be located by anyone at any time. And that's all wrapped up. We have an ecosystem. It's just called the Ghost ecosystem, the Ghost distributed exchange, the Ghost coin, and now the Ghost telephone. We'll be coming out with the Ghost stable coin before the year is out. So we're developing an ecosystem of total privacy and anonymity.
Right. I saw also a little while ago I assume it was a joke. Was it a kind of prototype of a cryptocurrency called Whacked? Epstein didn't kill himself?
No, it's a real cryptocurrency, but I've even got it tattooed on my arm.
Oh, right.
But it was a joke, of course. I mean, think about it. Every time you trade a whacked token, 10% of it gets whacked. It gets taken away. 1 out of every 100 transactions, the entire transaction is whacked. So if you're sending somebody 100 whacked tokens, you may lose all of them.
Right.
No, it's a real token, but we were doing it just to make fun of the whole system.
Yeah. So with the, I saw on your Twitter you've made a few jokes surrounding the Jeffrey Epstein suicide, which clearly was not a suicide. Do you have any speculation as to who may have actually been behind his, whoever may have topped him?
Well, I mean, the man who killed him was Nicholas Tartaglione. I don't know who he was acting on behalf of, but we all know that Nicholas killed. Well, I mean, the police haven't charged him. I mean, he's already in prison for quadruple murder. It was his cellmate. So
it's believed that his cellmate was the one who actually did it. He was a big guy.
It's not believed. It's an absolute fact. I mean, but yes, it's. I believe it. How's that?
I thought he was removed from the room, but it would make sense with all these breaks. I thought he was removed from his cell like 6 hours before, but clearly
yes,
not.
Of course he was. Of course, yes, he was. At least officially. Why? Now, why would he be the one to whack him, and why was he put in his cell to begin with? Because if they had done a more thorough investigation, if there were people going, maybe he was whacked, then the DNA evidence in the cell would have been Tartaglioni's, because he was in the cell up until 6 hours before. So, but yeah, no, so he was taken out of the cell at 8 o'clock in the evening and put back into the cell at 11:30 at night.
So no speculation as who you think may have been behind it?
Well, I mean, it was certainly aided by the warden of the prison who was laid off, that crazy woman.
The artwork for the crypto had Hillary Clinton eating a pizza.
Well, I don't really know.
Yeah, of course.
You can only go so far up the chain.
Right.
Okay? I know that Nicholas Tartaglione killed him. Other than that, everything else is speculation. And as you get closer to the top, the percentage of assurance diminishes to next to nothing.
Right. I saw some videos floating around just when Epstein was killed of some footage, the first footage of his island. And it was rumored that it was you flying drones into there. Was that true? Was that you?
They would say that again?
Well, when the first footage came out of Epstein's island. It was drone footage, and it was rumored that it was you flying the drones around. Was that true?
Well, if it were, I'd be an idiot to say so. I mean, the FBI is already after me for other crimes. That would just seal my fate, wouldn't it?
Right. So your story has been pretty fascinating for me, and I'm sure many, many people around the world. You've kind of done it all, really, or doing it all. Let's kind of start with 2016, and I believe this year as well, you ran for President of the United States?
I did. On the Libertarian Party. I came in third in 2016 for the nomination, and I didn't even place this time.
Right. Why do you think that was this time around?
I was not, because I didn't want it. I didn't have my heart in it. I was merely running to shed light on the stupidity of the political system and the political process in America today.
Was that the same reason you were running in 2016?
Pretty much, but I accidentally came in third then. I don't know why.
Popular guy. So
maybe.
What was your message that you were kind of trying to really convey throughout this running for your presidency?
Basically, that the American system of government has turned into a charade, and that it's the deep state. And what is the deep state? The deep state are those career employees. Some of them have been there working for 50 years, like in the CIA and every other agency. They cannot be fired by presidents or Congress because they're far too low. You can't get down that far. They really control everything. All the way from the driver's license office, which we all know are filled with arrogant pricks, all the way to the directors of urban housing and development, of the IRS, everything else. I mean, it's beyond belief how that deep state has gained control, and presidents and Congress therefore have limited power to do anything.
Right. Do you think you'll have another go running?
No, absolutely not. Too old.
No. So do you think you kind of you achieved what you set out to do? Just kind of get people second guessing the whole system?
Yeah, just to a certain extent, people are talking a little. I mean, yeah, every little bit helps, does it not? I mean, you have to do something. If you truly believe something, there's no sense in sitting back and keeping quiet about it.
You've been pretty outspoken about the government's, I mean, your aversion to income tax. I've heard you talk about that as just blatant theft. And
well, in certain countries, I can't talk about anything except America. That's all I know. And in America, it's unconstitutional. The Constitution forbids it, flat out forbids it.
Where does it forbid it? How does it forbid it?
Well, it's in the first of all, the Bill of Rights. It's in multiple places. The Second Amendment, the Third Amendment states specifically that the government shall pass no laws to restrict, inhibit a person's ability to earn a living, including the government may not take the fruits of his labor, like his crops, his property, or anything else. What's the difference between taking the crops if you're a farmer or taking your cash if you're a laborer? Same thing. It's still the fruits of your labor.
So if everyone was to stop paying income tax, I mean, it sounds pretty good. How would things, the more socialist kind of aspects of society, the police, the fire brigade, building the roads, how would that all function without income tax?
Like it functions in governments that have no income tax. America had no income tax prior to 1913, and we were, prior to 1913, the industrial power of the world. Now we don't have any industry at all. We're just a service economy with a powerful military. That's it. No, there are thousands of ways. Jesus, that's what concerns me. People do not understand economics going, well, we have to have taxes. That's utter fucking nonsense. Jesus.
No,
The Bahamas has no income tax. I mean, there are at least 60 thriving countries in this world. Most all in the Middle East, there's no income tax. Good God. Look at Dubai, Saudi Arabia, the wealth, the industry there. No income tax. It's only lazy, stupid governments that decide to steal from their own people in order to support themselves. That's idiotic. Government. We should elect people that have the common sense to support themselves. I'm an entrepreneur. I didn't ask the government to support me or anybody else. I figured it out myself.
Well, that would be an example of why I'm poor and you're wealthy, I guess. Absolutely zero knowledge of the economy at all. Again, I said I found your story incredibly fascinating. You've been pretty outspoken throughout your life and lived quite kind of, I suppose, would debaucherous lifestyle be an accurate
If you wish to call it that, I have no problem with that.
You enjoy the fun parts of life, I guess.
I just please myself. I
Yep.
do as I please. That's pure and simple.
So I want to talk about this. When you finished McAfee antivirus, you got deeply into yoga. Well, I think you'd always been into it, but you opened up a yoga studio and meditation center in this beautiful scenic, property that you bought. Why did that all come to an end? I mean, that seems quite the opposite of the lifestyle that you've led, at least from what I know, Belize onwards.
No, I don't think so. I mean, yoga and meditation are quite enjoyable. And I got a lot of pussy. I mean, women love yoga teachers. No, this is the truth, please. Let's be honest.
No.
That's the fundamental reason I started it. Why bother going to bars to pick up women and have them come to you?
So do you believe in the practice of yoga and meditation?
It depends what you mean by believe in. I do it. It has benefits. It has detriments like anything else. I believe that it exists, yes.
I mean, so I guess you see it as a completely different thing as maybe a search for a pure understanding or searching for truth or anything like that. Like a spiritual.
You can't find truth through any practice, any procedure, any external thing. If you're looking for truth, sit in front of a mirror. That's the only way to find truth.
Okay. So why did the yoga studio come to an end? Or meditation center?
I got bored.
Got bored?
I got bored.
Got enough pussy? Ticked that box?
Well, yeah, too much, actually. I had too many women living there.
So everyone was actually living there, almost like was this? Were you getting a cult vibe?
There were over 50 bedrooms on that property, 9 cabins. We could sleep well over 100 people. So yeah, there are lots of people living there full time until after I shut the center down, finally weaned most of them away.
Were you aiming for a bit of a cult vibe, or what was
Oh, fuck no. I wasn't trying to get a cult vibe. I was just trying to get pussy, as I explained it.
Yeah. So what happened to the property, or just sold it and moved right on?
Auctioned it off, moved on.
Right. And from there you moved to Belize.
Well, no, actually, listen, I had properties all over the world. I had not just that property, I had gorgeous properties in Ecuador, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Hawaii, California, but all over the world. I had massively gorgeous properties. Many of the properties I never even set foot on. 5 years and $10 million building an estate on the island of Molokai in Hawaii. I never set foot on it, never saw it. I sold it. See, that's a tragedy of money. It doesn't bring happiness. It brings, I don't know, chaos and confusion and what you think you own in the end, owns you.
So I guess is that kind of would that be one of the reasons why you went to Belize and just left America to find just
Yeah, I
pretty
did.
much.
I sold everything. I sold everything. Went to Belize I wanted to get away from everything.
Strip it
It's
back.
a gorgeous, gorgeous country. I love water. I love the ocean. I had boats down there. It was spectacular.
Why Belize? Because it seems that it's a pretty dodgy part of the world. Like, it seems like it's ridden with a lot of crime, a lot of murders, a lot of gangs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's also the most beautiful place in the world. I mean, you can't have everything, can you? Everything comes with a price.
But there are some pretty I haven't been to Belize, so I really can't comment. But there are some pretty spectacular places like Vietnam, Hawaii. You said you mentioned you had a place there that
Yeah,
would
but I mean, come on. I'm a water person. You can't enjoy the water. I mean, you can get on boats in Hawaii. There's only 2 countries in the world in fact, Belize has the second largest barrier reef, and that's Belize and Australia. Didn't want to go to Australia, the north coast. The reef is too far offshore. Belize, the reef was a quarter of a mile from my house. Even in the biggest storms, inside the reef was almost dead calm. I mean, it's a completely different world, totally different water. It's much more beautiful. No, there's only 2 places, if you like water, that you go. One is Australia, and the other is Belize.
Right. So, I mean, it sounds amazing. It sounds beautiful. Why did life in Belize get so chaotic for you? I mean,
Yeah, because I don't bow down to corrupt authority. The Belizean government tried to extort me, and I don't like being extorted. I just fought back. That was a mistake. I actually should have paid the money, but I didn't.
why did you have so basically in what happened? Politicians came to you, wanted $2 million, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before that, you donated like $1 million yacht to the.
Oh,
to the
I
police.
donated all kinds of things, but I didn't donate it to the government. There's a big difference.
Right, it was more local.
I donated things to the smaller people or
Right.
to the Coast Guard. They didn't have a fucking boat. They had some tragic boats, no radar, nothing. So I donated a patrol boat with radar, the whole ball of wax, landing gear that you could land on the beach and take quads off of it onto the sand and whatever. That didn't benefit anybody, really, except the Coast Guard. I mean, no one could make money off of that. I donated. Police in Belize have to buy their own weapons and their own bullets. They couldn't afford it. Most of them went weaponless. I bought guns and police gear for the police. I built lunchrooms for schools. But see, that doesn't go to politicians. So they just came and said, well, why don't you donate $2 million to our upcoming election? I chose not to do that.
Yeah.
That was a mistake.
And then straight after that, you were raided.
Well, yeah, 1 week after that, as a matter of fact, to the very day. So I would remember it, I think. And then after the raid, they came and said, oh, Mr. McAfee, we're so sorry. We acted on bad information. Oh, please forgive us. And by the way, have you reconsidered your donation?
Right.
I said, get the fuck off my property. That was another mistake.
Right. So before all that happened, you were getting armed to the teeth. You had security guards, you were arming all sorts of local criminals, it would seem.
Didn't you just say when you started, it's the murder capital of the world, there are gangs everywhere in the States? And of course I had bodyguards, 20 of them.
Did all your neighbors have bodyguards? Like, is that a normal thing for?
No, of course not. Of course not.
Right. So why?
That didn't mean that I can't have them. I mean, the neighbors certainly had guns, and there were certainly gangsters there, and there were murders up one side and down the other, and rich people got robbed, murdered,
right,
kidnapped, tortured for information. Please God. So of course I had bodyguards. Of course I had my own security, of course they were armed.
Do you think rolling around with like a crew of 20 heavily armed ex-criminal bodyguards, pretty gangster, don't you reckon? Like it kind of.
Is it? What am I supposed to do? Hire Pinkerton men that are going to run when the shooting starts? No. I mean, they don't respect authority there. They respected ex-convict with a gun. They know you shoot at them, they're going to shoot back. What choice do they have?
What about the broader community? How do they deal with all that? Your neighbors, other.
The neighbors loved it. The neighbors loved it. I took care of them as well. They'd come to me and say, "This is happening, that's happening," and I just said, no. Everybody loved it except the government.
Yeah. So you started a chemical lab in Belize too, didn't you? Doing the antibiotics. Yeah.
It was an antibiotic lab based on native plants along the river. Yeah, it was my entire compound was along the New River.
Was that something that you had prior interest in, or was that just a passion project that you just decided to kind of?
It was just a passion project. I met a Harvard PhD that had done research in a thing called quorum sensing. It's a new science. 10 years ago, they discovered that bacteria actually communicate with each other and do not turn pathogenic until a quorum is reached, and a quorum is determined by a chemical emission from the bacteria. And this PhD graduate had done research with certain plants, because plants, they've been here for 2 billion years before animals got here. Animals can just pick up and move if there's something sick next to you. Plants can't. So it turns out that plants, many of them, use anti-quorum sensing chemicals to prevent and protect themselves from pathogenic bacteria. So we were doing research on those plants, and we had created over 5,000 topical bottles, which we were giving out to the natives. They were coming every day going, "Do you have any more of that? Do you have any more of that?" It was magical. You spray it on a cut, because in the jungle, most people die from infection. You scratch it, a tiniest little scratch. Well, good God, there's every pathogen in the world out there. And a simple infection could lose an arm or a life. But you spray this on, and within 24 hours, the redness is gone, and it heals almost dramatically fast. So yeah, it was good stuff. That's what they destroyed when they raided my property.
Right. So you were actually getting some very real results, and
Oh, really? Listen, this would have changed medicine, but they destroyed everything in the lab, including all my research, the entire ball of wax. I wasn't going to buy all that gear again and start over from scratch.
I don't know a whole lot about antibiotics, but are they from fungus, actually, or are they from a...
Are they what? No, they're not. No, funguses are not bacteria. Funguses are a different genus.
Right. Okay. So as any of the research that you were working on and building on, was that adopted into kind of conventional science or medicine that we're seeing today?
No, it's totally unconventional. It's the brand new stuff. No one has ever done it before or since. And so we spent, I had hundreds of people going through all up and down the river, picking up every variety, and there are tens of thousands of species of plants within that part of Central America, and we were then testing them with a bacteria called Pseudomonas, which is the most common bacteria in the world, completely non-pathogenic. And those that showed promise, we researched further, and we finally would extract the components that they used, and we combined about 30 of the most powerful and created our Quorum X, it was called.
Right. And so all this was just lost during the raid when they destroyed
everything was lost. They destroyed everything.
Nothing was able to be salvaged, or other researchers to take it up.
Nothing.
No. Did they find anything during the raid?
What was there to find?
Well, I think I heard on another podcast.
No, of course not.
Were you making some kind of sex enhancing drugs at all?
Absolutely not. No, see, this is okay. I was on a thing called blue light, and it was the biggest joke in the world.
Blue
okay?
light?
Pardon? Blue light.
Blue light, yeah.
It's a drug. It's a drug form. Okay,
Mm.
so no, of course not. If I were, they would have found it, for fuck's sake, or found residue or the components. Good God Almighty, people! It was an antibiotics lab, and that's all it fucking did.
Right. Well, that fucking sucks that they they destroyed
I
all
thought
that.
so.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah. I mean, you said it.
Okay, we have time for one more question.
Okay, sure. Well, if one more, could we quickly get through to there's a film made about you called Gringo. This film, you were not in it, and there were some pretty crazy accusations in this film. I
wasn't knocking the film. I was knocking the people who made it. I haven't seen the film, quite frankly.
Right.
I have no interest because I've lived my life. I don't need to watch someone else's take on it.
Right.
But yeah, so go ahead.
I'll sum up some of the accusations that were thrown your way. So Allison Adonizio, the microbiologist that you had working in your lab, she claims that you drugged and raped her.
Look, Kenny, first of all, if anybody who knows the history, and everybody, I was living with 7 women at that time. They were with me constantly. How on earth could I have done that without any of them knowing it? I mean, please God. Totally false, a ridiculous accusation, and we'll leave it at that. Next question.
The David Middleton was this another gangster that tried to rob you. And he was basically, allegedly by your men, roughed up, tortured, and then later died.
But first of all, I don't. If he tried to rob me, I did not know about it. I mean, when did he try to rob me? Certainly my security would have known. Did not know the man. Did not know the man. Knew nothing about the man, other than the fact that he was killed.
Right.
And he lived in a neighboring village.
So he didn't break into your house?
Was 17 armed security guards, which you and I just talked about, all ex-cons. How in the fuck could he have broken into my house?
Couldn't tell you.
No, totally false. Totally false. The entire movie, totally false. Anyway, we're out of time, and thank you very much, my friend.
Well, thank you for your time, John.
That was 2 questions. We only had 1.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, mate. Take care.